Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Love Learns. We're back again with another episode on Perfect Match, and this is the final episode, guys. You'll be glad to hear. I think after watching like all the series and then watching like the engagement that I've been getting with these videos, I'm like really appreciative for you guys who have stuck around to watch them and get to know them. And in the last video that I posted last week, one of the girls had mentioned in the comments that like things have changed, so I thought I'd do a video based on all the changes that have happened. So I have been doing my research after that post. Netflix also put out a Where Are They Now video as to where all the cast members are. Because I was away last week, I filmed last week's video like 2 weeks ago, so before all the information had come out. So I'm kind of like playing catch up. So please forgive me for the late posts. But I've gone back and done my research and found out some things. So since posting that video, watching all those videos, there's been a lot of updates and a lot of like information that's come out about the show and behind the scenes and what was going on. The show did tell us about Jess and Harry. They said that they were together for 1 week and then they split up. Since then, we've had more information from Harry's podcast about their relationship, and also from the Netflix like Where Are They Now video. They are not really talking at the moment, but they're like, they ended on good enough terms for them to just like see, if they see each other, they're like cool with each other in person, but it's not like they're constantly in contact with each other. But from Harry's podcast, Boyfriend Material, he does have a conversation with Dom, and also has a conversation based on the first few episodes about him. He thought that he was in love with Jess and wanted to pursue things with Jess. He also had an interview with Stevan, which I'll talk about later, but in that interview he also expresses how he feels like when he is dating people, he does love bomb them a lot, because he wants to give them the idea of like what they want, but then when it comes to it, he realizes his reputation doesn't really help. Anytime he does want to take them out on a date, he finds himself wanting to cancel because he knows the reputation that he has would put that girl in a certain position. So it was kind of like, oh, so he does also mention in his previous videos, like, he knows the year ago Harry is so much different to who he is now, and he looks back at that Harry and sees that he was a walking red flag, and he wasn't fully in the best space. And he also mentions before he went on to the show, he was sober for I think 6 months. I think I'll double check that and let you know, but he was sober for a period of time, but when he went into the house, he broke his sobriety, and that kind of escalated some old patterns that he had. But now he's stayed true to his sobriety and actually sees the repercussions of not sticking to his sobriety in that show. So he's decided that he's going to stay sober. He's still single, and is trying to figure himself out before he goes back into the dating scene. So it feels like with Harry, I know we did a whole video on him, but with him, looking back, he's seen some parts of him that he does not like, and he wants to fix, he wants to work on. And I think with having TV cameras on you constantly in that house, and you know it's a TV show, there's things you do to kind of give the viewers what you think they want, which is the drama and the reason to come back and watch. And he also mentioned in his video that producers did ask him to kind of play up on certain things because they're getting paid, like there's a lot of at stake to kind of keep the show going and stuff. But then when we spoke to Tolu, who had an interview with Dipti and Natalie from Love is Blind season 2, she, on their podcast, the pods, she also mentions like she didn't feel the vibe to like have to play anything up. So I don't know if it's actually Harry's truth or if he's just feels like that's what the production wanted, so actually pays on it. But Tolu also did say it felt like the girls had a different idea of what the show would be like, and the guys had a completely different idea of what the show would be like. So I think the girls seem to have been going in for more of a, this is like I'm trying to find my perfect match, and then the guys were just here for a TV show. So it could be two truths happening at the same time, that the girls were fed one information and the guys were fed another. But it feels like there is a lot of differences between how like production handles the casts, and that's why I think when you are watching these shows, you have to watch it as a dating reality show and not as real life, because I think sometimes we see these shows and we see that there's all these like expectations, not also putting in the context that these people are spending like a lot of their time together. They're also competing for something at the end of it, and though they might be with the cameras all the time, and kind of get used to the cameras being there, maybe sometimes they don't. There's also a subconscious drive going on where they feel like they still have to perform. So Harry was giving like F-boy energy. Then we have Brighton, who was also giving I want to be the villain this year. And even with that, we also find out from Stevan in the boyfriend material video that Stevan and Brighton had a argument, a physical altercation that went down in the house whilst they were having like their lunch or something. So that bit was not filmed, but production was around and had to break them up and stuff. But it seemed like there was tension between Brighton and Stevan, and that happened after the boys and girls had their own days out, and the other castmates came to meet the boys and girls in their own like little villas, and Brighton kept on pushing to get back into the house, so kept on like feeding girls information. And then it came out when they were having dinner, and Brighton must have kept on poking at Stevan, and Stevan was like, let's go then, let's if you want to do this now, let's do it now. Like, if you are going to threaten me to like take this outside of this house, then let's do this now. And that ended in an altercation. So I think even outside of the filming, there was still a lot of tension building, and with these shows, there's always going to be things that we don't see because they're cutting like 4 weeks worth of content into like 10 hours, which we cannot like we can't see the nuances of everything. We're just shown, and it's also edited show, so we don't even know if that's the right order of how things went. Christine also gave a video based on like after the show on her channel, and she does mention that like her final date with Nigel wasn't actually her final date. There was another date that they had together that was used as the final date rather than their actual final date. So you can see that it is cut in different ways, and Harry also mentions this in his video with like the finale. You can see different things missing, and 1 minute he's holding something, 1 minute he's not. So I think there is signs that this is an edited show, so we're not getting the true story and the true timeline. We're getting what the producers want us to see. So I always say at the beginning of my videos, like, let's give them a bit of grace, because we don't really know. Yeah, we don't really know what is true and what is not. Yes, these are their behaviors and this is how they've reacted to something, but sometimes we don't know what that something is. So the camera is going to catch you doing what it's going to catch you doing, but the story that is being told may not be in the right chronological order. So it is very much just the show. So like when I am pointing these things out, I am pointing it out based on what we're seeing, and not what is true. So yeah, I'm the more I watch it, the more I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna have to preface this every time I make a video about reality shows, which is fine, but it does also give you information based on people's reactions, even though we don't know what they're reacting to sometimes, and sometimes it is what they are reacting to. But from just the way it's filmed, well, it's presented to us, we will base it on that information. And we can see that like with Harry and Jess, their relationship was within the show, there was a lot of love bombing, and even from the interviews after, we see that Harry says it himself, like he is in a state of love bombing at times, so he understands why and how he can learn from what he's seen. And the only other couple that stayed together at the end was Christine and Nigel, and they did go on to their like free honeymoon session, which Christine said they did give it a try afterwards. We don't know how long for, but we are told that they did give it a try afterwards, but after the show things kind of just like dwindled, because there wasn't much effort from Nigel's end, and she tried to suggest going to couples therapy or doing things to kind of get some more routine within the relationship, but didn't end up like working, so she doesn't really speak to him. And Nigel tried to contact her on the day of filming the What's Next video to kind of be on the same page, but she wasn't having it. She wasn't having it because she was like, well, like, no, because you haven't put effort into this, so why should we lie about it? I'm just going to be true to where we're actually at. And she said she was even on a three-way conversation with his ex, so it's like, I don't know if Nigel was also just playing up for the cameras based on this information, because it sounds like he even wanted to play up to the cameras for that, but like Christine wasn't playing games, so just said exactly what happened. And you see in Nigel's video, you can see him saying one thing and then Christine giving her version and then him changing his version completely, which is very interesting because it seems like he was playing for the camera. So when you see that, you think, oh, was the whole show him just playing for the cameras, or was it just actually like he didn't want to embarrass himself that they hadn't stayed longer? I don't know. Like, we can't tell these things until we have conversations with these people. And then we have Stevan and Alora. Alora seemed very emotional in that Where Are They Now video, because she said that they had went on holiday with everyone else to kind of after the show, and they were just enjoying themselves. There was plans for them to like keep on going and just stay together, but when they went their separate ways, like the energy wasn't the same. And in the boyfriend's material interview with Stevan, we see Stevan giving his point of view. I haven't seen a video with Alora's point of view yet, so I'm not sure where she stands. But with Stevan, he was saying that when he came back to reality, because he had some businesses and he has his music that he needed to do, like there was so many practical things that he was doing that he got overwhelmed with having to put things back into place because he was away for 4 weeks, that his communication like dipped and he started to ghost her, and like not messaging her frequently. So she got really upset with that case because she really did think he was her perfect match. And Stevan does say like she was his perfect match in the show, but he couldn't see how his crazy lifestyle and the long distance would work. But because they were in a bubble for 4 weeks, it felt like, great, this was going to work. And what we do need to also understand, this is 4 weeks of them being in the same house, playing like in this competition. And then they come into reality, and yes, those feelings are still real from the actual show, but at the same time, when you come into reality, there's so many other external factors. So I'm not saying that he was right for doing that, because I think communication is key in this instance. He should have just been very honest with Alora and been like, things are way too crazy here. I can't keep up with messaging you with an 8-hour difference. When I'm going to bed, you're just waking up, and when I'm going to bed, you're like halfway through your day at work or something. So there was always a disconnect with the distance. And I think that's one thing about the show that Stevan does say. He was like Love is Blind and is like based in the same city, and they all live in the same city or neighboring city, so it's not too far of long distance, or like Love Island. But when it comes to Perfect Match, they're all from all over the world. We had some people from the UK, some people from Sweden, some people from the US. I think those were the only 3 places, like majority of the places. And I think in previous season we had someone from France as well, but those were like all global, so it makes it a little bit harder for them to stay in relationships. But Alora really did look forward for them figuring it out together and putting that work in. So it was sad to see them not like work it out, but now that I've watched the videos of them, the commentary from Stevan, and if you do have any videos of Alora that I haven't seen, please put in the comments so I can catch up with those. I'd love to see that. We also saw Micah and Kaz. I didn't do a video on these two because their relationship was just a huge roller coaster from beginning to end. And I did initially want to do a video on them, but my head it was just too much for me. It was too much for me. It was so on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off that I was like, I can't even, it would take like a whole hour video, just like the Harry one did. Like, it would be a long video, and Harry's one already took it out of me. It already took it out of me before my holiday, so I was like, yeah, I don't see myself doing another video like this because it's way too long, because their relationship was very much toxic, and very much up, down, up, down, up, down. So when I watched it, the Where Are They Now, I knew they wouldn't be together. Also because of the long distance situation as well, because he was in London and she was in America. But sheesh, their relationship was a roller coaster that they need to both work on their gaining a secure attachment, because it seems like one was very much an avoidant and the other one was very much in their anxious attachment styles. So they gave typical avoidant and anxious cycle throughout the show. And also I think with Kaz, there was a sense of he wasn't being very honest with himself about situations, which didn't make it easier for their relationships, because he would say something to Micah, but on the dates there was also an unalignment, and on the dates it was very much like he was very like aloof with where they were at, but it seemed like he was very much understanding where they were at in the relationship when they were together. But as soon as he was out of the relationship, it was a different situation. So I think that situation was something that kind of crept up as well outside of the house, because he saw a text from one of the cast texting her, and she saw something on his messages. So there was always a distrust between them throughout the season anyway. So that got carried on into the real world, and they quickly ended it. Kaz in the video says she hates me, so they're no longer in any sort of relationship at the moment. And Micah has also said they're done, and she's also single, but she's not going to, you're not going to know. No, she didn't even say she was single. She said she's going to keep her private life private now, and the only time we're going to get an announcement of where she's at in her love life is if she has a ring on her finger. Kaz, he said that he's in a relationship, but then he said with me. So I'm not sure if he's actually in a relationship or not, but if you guys know this, please put it in the comments so that we can discuss, because I was confused. I was like, are you in a relationship, or are you in a relationship with yourself? Like, is it self-love? Because some people in the video did say they're like focusing on their self-love, they're in a relationship with themselves, they're happy where they're at, like that kind of vibe. But with his, it wasn't very clear. I wasn't sure. So if you know, please put in the comments, let me know, because I would love to know. But it seems like throughout all the like Brighton as well, he also came on with Elise. Elise is also in a relationship with someone else who wasn't on the cast. Stevan is also in a relationship with someone who isn't on the cast, but also lives in America. So I think he really did need someone close by. And Brighton is also in a relationship, because he said he wouldn't go on another show like that because his girlfriend will cut his balls off. So I'm not sure if Brighton just needed a very strong woman or if he was just playing villain role. Because in villain role, it seemed like he didn't want to be in a relationship. He just wanted the attention, which we mentioned in the Dominique and Brighton video. But he didn't say much about, he didn't say like much about his relationship, so I don't really know his situation. But I know, like, from the video, he wasn't giving boyfriend material. So it's very interesting to see that he is now in a relationship, and I would love to see what that kind of dynamic is. Elise's dynamic, they're like, she's very, like, they post a video of her and her partner, and it seems like she's very happy in her relationship. They're doing TikToks together, so she's very public with her relationship as well. So yeah, it seems like watching these things. Oh, there was also Tolu and Chris, who were also in the videos. In the What's Next videos, they're no longer talking. And I didn't do a video on these two because it was like kind of like friends to lovers story. And I didn't feel like I've kind of covered that kind of aspect of relationships in the Colin and Penelope video. But with them in reality, I couldn't really tell. And I didn't want to do a video on them because I couldn't really tell if they were actually like a true couple, or if it was just by circumstance that they were in that couple. Just because with Chris, it felt like he just wanted to stay in the house a lot of the times. But Tolu was also very much in it for, I want to find my match. So I don't know if it was just Chris's way of manipulating his way into the house, because I don't think even in the show, I don't think he had dated a black woman before. But if I'm wrong, please do let me know. So it felt a little bit off. And with these kinds of shows, when I see black women on them, not to be political or anything, but I just feel like it's very hard for black women to find their matches on those kinds of shows, because I think there's not many men who are put in those shows that are first attracted to black women, if that makes sense. Like, it's not usually the norm for that to be the case. It's usually people who are more attracted to either lighter skinned black women or white women or Latinos before the black women. So even in season 1, we didn't see much viewage of black women in the house because they got eliminated quite quickly. Just because the dynamic with the people who were in the house just weren't attracted to them like that. So I think that's always going to be a point with reality TV shows, unless it's a fully black show like Ready to Love or something like that. But it's very rare that I see like a good mix of people who have a mix palette for their type. Because most people have a type and they go into the house, and a lot of the time their types are what's in the house. Whereas for black women, I think nowadays black women I'm seeing more and more diversity in their type, whereas before they used to just go for black men. And Tolu does mention in her video with Dipti and Natalie that as soon as she went in, the first person that caught her eye was Kaz, but Kaz wasn't given the same energy back, so she ended up matching with Izzy. And she also said that the match with Izzy was edited in a way to seem like they had matched before, but they were actually the default couple because they were the last ones to match. But she did enjoy spending time with Izzy because he was like, they're on the similar level and similar mindset. And I think the guys that actually wanted long-term relationships, from what I've seen, they didn't really make it into the house much. So you had Justin, who I watched an interview with Justin, and he was explaining his side of things as well. And he really did go in thinking he was going to find his perfect match. Also spoke to the producers after he left about his perfect match and found out that his perfect match actually would have been Elise. So he was very much into finding love, and he didn't get the chance to explore that because of all the drama outside of the situation, outside of filming. And then we have Izzy as well. I think he also was looking for love. And I think the persona of like the Love is Blind people always looking for like committed relationships kind of like pans through. And Mike also mentioned it in her interview that like she went in thinking this is perfect match, I'm going to find my perfect match. Whereas some people came in thinking, oh, this is a dating show. So she came in like hot, like we're gonna get married, we're gonna, like, painted a dream in her head, but in reality that wasn't what was happening. So it is very interesting to see how the mindset that you go into the show can either determine how that show is going to work or not for you, and maybe getting more insight to what the show is actually about. Like Too Hot to Handle, you understand what that's about. Love is Blind, you understand what that's about, I think. But with Perfect Match, because it's a mix of different characters, different people, it was kind of like different people had different mindset of what the show would be, and I don't think it was very clear. Even though in Justin's interview he does say they do an extensive questionnaire about people's personalities, what they like, what they don't like, what their values are, and how that kind of helps them pair the matches. But at the end of it, we didn't have any couples last past the show after it was filmed. So after it was released. So clearly the matchmaking process in that setting didn't really work. But that's all for TV, isn't it? It's all for reality TV. That's what you're getting. And Stevan does mention this in his video with Harry on Boyfriend Material, that like with Love is Blind, you know that this could work, but with other dating shows, there's a possibility that it won't, because commitment isn't the end goal. So it makes it a little bit harder for them to get to that point. But on that note, the Perfect Match series is now coming to an end. It's now at its end. But if you guys have more questions and stuff, I'm happy to answer any questions in the comments, and kind of give context and have conversations about it so we can just discuss. So this is really just a chilled, in-depth, like what I've come across and what you guys have been pointing out, that I've gone to look for and go and digging for. But yeah, it's been a very lovely series, and I've really enjoyed doing this series because it's what I do love. I do love We all know this. I do love a bit of romance, and it's something that's kind of helped us learn a little bit about behaviours and stuff. And yes, these behaviours that I've mentioned in previous videos are things you need to be looking out for, but also remember, you may not get these in the first like 4 weeks of meeting someone, because as you know, the TV show is like very intense, considering they're all in the same house and doing the same things together, and it is a hyper intense situation that they are in. So like, when you are dating, give time to whoever you're dating to like to figure out if they have these patterns or not. But if you see too many red flags in the beginning, do what you need to do to keep yourself safe, and just enjoy dating like Laura did and Stevan did. Like, just look out for the green flags, guys. Just look out for the green flags. But on that note, I'm going to end this video here. If you guys have any other videos you would like me to do in the next season, I'm thinking, guys, go with me on this one. I'm thinking of doing Love is Blind UK, because it's supposed to be coming out in August. So if it does come out in August, I'm going to watch all of it in August when we're on our break, and in September come back with like the different couples, the different different like themes that I noticed in September when we do come back. But if there's any other shows that you want me to like watch and analyze, please put in the comments or DM me on Instagram or find me somewhere and send me a message, so that we can talk them through, because I think these videos are kind of helping me also help you, and also helping you from the comments that I'm getting back. So if you are interested in like suggesting something, please do let me know what to do next, and I'm looking forward to actually getting there, like going into it. But as I said, in August we're taking a break, but next week and the week after we're gonna have a guest on the show. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to having them on and just talking a little bit more about like different things. And when we do come back, we'll have more stuff, more reality. So please, please, please let me know what you guys are wanting to see, and I will continue to do these videos. And please do know, I do these videos like almost a week before they're released, so there is going to be a lag in getting information to you. But as soon as I do like get a rhythm of things, I can start being on time with things and stuff. But this season is the last time we're going to be at Cura Rooms. I'm going to be moving out of Cura Rooms and finding a new space in Bank. So if you do want to work with me in the future in person and have some therapy sessions, please do reach out and go onto the website and book a free consultation, telephone consultation, and then we can go from there and see what would work best for you. So on that note, I hope you all have a lovely, lovely week ahead, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Take care, guys. Bye.